Okay, boys and girls, so we're in our part 2 of our animal lesson, and we are going to go over the invertebrates group. So you'll need two things. You'll need your science packet, and you'll need your pencil to write with. Let's open up to the very first page where we have our invertebrates. Now, I've colored in my page. You don't have to color it in, but if you want to, you can. This is just some information about invertebrates, and we, in part 1, had already filled out our little chart of invertebrates. So let's turn to the back page, where we have a chart. Now, the invertebrate group is broken up into 6 additional groups of invertebrates. All of these groups have some kind of characteristic that makes them similar. So there is the group known as the sponges, and they have characteristics that all make them the same. The jellies, the worms, sea stars and sea urchins, mollusks, and one of my favorite, arthropods. So these are these 6 different groups of the invertebrates. Okay, and again, they all have similar characteristics that make them what they are. Remember, invertebrates are animals that have a backbone or that have no backbone. I hope you said they don't have backbone. Very, very good. All right, I'm going to read you some information, and in each one of the squares, we're going to fill in the information that we find out about that particular group of invertebrates. And I'm going to start with the arthropods. Now listen carefully. The largest group of the invertebrates is the group Arthropods. This group is composed of animals that have an exoskeleton and legs that bend in many places. This group is not only our insect group, but it also has lobsters and spiders in it. So here's what I heard about the arthropods. It is the largest group of invertebrates. So I'm going to write that in my first square. They have exoskeletons. Now remember, not every invertebrate has an exoskeleton, but all arthropods do. Can I zoom in more? Okay. They all have exoskeletons, and finally, they have legs that bend in many places. In many places. Pause the video where you need to catch up. Now, like the crab and a spider, those bends in the legs, it is in many different places, isn't it? It's like in 3 different sections of their legs. So, again, all arthropods have similar characteristics or features, traits that make them unique. Now let's take a look at the next invertebrate group known as the mollusks. So right next to it, mollusks. Listen carefully. The mollusks are invertebrate animals that have soft bodies. There are a few mollusks who have a hard shell, such as snails. Most mollusks push their bodies around with a muscle called a foot. In this group, you will find clams, octopuses, and squids. So, what did you hear about the mollusk? I did too. I heard they had soft bodies, right? And that they push themselves with a foot. What's called a foot, right? Few have a hard shell, right? Do you remember one of the mollusks that has a hard shell? You're right. It was the snail. Very good. Remember, pause where you need to catch up. But I'm going to keep on going. Moving on to sea stars and sea urchins. Sea stars and sea urchins have shells also, but unlike the mollusk group, this group has their shells on the inside of their bodies. Okay, so shells, let's see, shells on the inside. Did you hear any other detail about the sea stars or sea urchins? I didn't either. I only heard that one. Let's move on to the jellies. Jellies. Listen up for some information about jellies. Another common invertebrate group are the jellies. This group of animals has no bones, no eyes, and no brain. They do have tentacles that like to sting their prey. This group includes the jellyfish. So what did you hear about the jellies? Yes, right? No bones, eyes, or brains. Pretty outstanding, right? They do have tentacles. Okay, so interesting there too. And because I have one square left here, I'm going to write an example, which would be jellyfish. Okay. Let's keep going. You know what? Right in here in the mollusks, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put some examples right here where it says mollusks. I'm going to write snails, clams, and squids. And octopus belongs here too. In the arthropods, I'm going to write insects, spiders, and then lobsters, a lobster. So those go in arthropods. Go ahead and put those examples there in mollusks and arthropods. And remember, pause where you need to. I'm moving on to the sponges, right here, sponges. Sponges, another group of invertebrates, have holes in their bodies that help them pull water and floating food into them. That's really interesting. So, sponges have holes in their body. And they pull water to get food, it looks like. So pull water to get food. Did you hear any other information besides those two? Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't even hear an example, so we're going to leave that blank. And now we are moving on to the last part, the worms, right? I think I know what kind of worm they're talking about. With more than 1 million species, the worm group has no skeleton or protection inside or out. This group is made up of flatworms, earthworms, and roundworms. So I heard some interesting information. I heard 1 million species. That just means that amongst all of the worms on Earth, there are 1 million different types of worms out there. 1 million different types. That's a lot of worms. 1 million, they have no protection, right? Inside or out. They don't have an exoskeleton. They fill up with water. And the types of examples they gave were flatworms. Earthworms, we see those outside on the grass, especially when it rains, right? And roundworms. And that's it, boys and girls. We have filled out our invertebrates chart. These are the 6 types of invertebrates out in the world. And remember, these are all invertebrates that have no what? No backbone or no bones at all. Okay, well done today, boys and girls. Good job sticking with all of your lessons for the day. I will see you tomorrow for more lessons in math and science. Take care, guys. Bye.